The following is a Candlepin Stars and Strikes rebroadcast featuring some of our most memorable programs. Welcome to Park Place Lanes, everybody, and Candlepin Stars and Strikes. We have reached series championship time once again, and along with Dan Murphy, I'm Doug Brown, and we're set to go with Stu Bergman against Joe Ashline. This, of course, to determine who gets the big money, but more importantly, into the Tournament of Champions.
Right. We'll get through the match and get to the point where somebody has decided, maybe a few boxes left, then they automatically start looking at that qualifying score. But the win is most important first.
All right, let's talk about the two bowlers who will be going for that win here this afternoon. First of all, our number 2 seed, who won his very first appearance in the program last week, came up a winner as he knocked off Dan Broder. We're talking about Stu Bergman from Brighton, Mass.
Okay, and Stu comes in averaging 120, has a high single of 185, 446 for a triple. His qualifying score, 678.
And of course, as we move through each series, there's one guy who's sitting in that number 1 spot just waiting for his chance to throw one match and try and win and get into the Tournament of Champions in the best spot to try and do so. And hoping to take advantage of that spot is Joe Ashline from Nashua, New Hampshire, our top seed.
Okay, and Joe, no stranger to the show. He's averaging an average of a 128, 203 for a high single, 498, and his qualifying score 12 pins better than Stu at 690.
Lots of money at stake in today's show. In addition to the Tournament of Champions spot, we have $1,000 to the winner, $500 to the runner-up, also $50 in the bonus ball contest a little bit later on. We're going to get all of that started with the first string of our match, Joe Ashline and Stu Bergman, right after these words. Don't go away. Series championship time. Here's what's happened so far. Dan Broder won the first 2 weeks of this ladder series, and then last week he was knocked off by Stu Bergman, who rolled a 391, and so Stu holds up in that number 2 seeded spot to move into the championship match against our number 1 seed, Joe Ashline, and we are set to go. Stu Bergman will lead it off with the big money and the Tournament of Champions qualifying position at stake. And don't forget, coming up right after Stars and Strikes today at 1 o'clock on Stars and Strikes Doubles, we will have the Doubles Series Championship for the current series. Of course, the winning team from that show will move into the Doubles Tournament of Champions. We already have one qualifier into the Singles Tournament of Champions, Dave Richards, 4 weeks ago with a 418. Pretty good score. See how that holds up as the season progresses. Big hit by Stu Bergman, but the 510.
Not too much to show for it.
No playable wood either.
It's not on the same plane as the 10 pin, so it can be cut from right to left. Let's first look at Joe Ashline since the Tournament of Champions. No, he's been with us since then, hasn't he?
He was on the first week of Stars and Strikes Doubles.
That's right.
Some weeks back.
That's right. First time in singles since the tournament.
Right. Actually, when Joe was here in doubles, he teamed with Dave Richards, who ironically won the singles event with 3 straight victories, but Joe and Dave were unable to come up with a win in the doubles competition. And Joe remembers very well his appearance in the Tournament of Champions last spring because he was the number 1 seed, had all kinds of high hopes, as you would expect when you finish in the number 1 seeded position, but yet he came up with a subpar effort against Pat Pay in the championship match and had to settle for second place money. So Joe's been looking forward to coming back and
making amends.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's brought his family with him, wife Robin and 2-year-old Derek and 3-month-old Cody are all here rooting him on. Every time Joe comes, it seems like he's throwing harder.
I was thinking the same thing, not quite that way, but I was thinking, boy, is he throwing hard. He just generates a lot of speed with the arm swing, but you're right. It looks like he's throwing a little harder today. A lot of times I think, before they warm up and we're ready to go and the old adrenaline starts flowing, and I think it takes sometimes 2 or 3 boxes or half a string, sometimes a string, to settle the bowler down. I don't think speed is the answer to this game, at least not to a point it is, but after that you start losing accuracy. And especially here, high-scoring house, I'd want a little slower ball if I could to keep the pins hanging around a little longer.
Spare for Stu Bergman, first one of the match for either bowler. Stu had 13 marks last week in his win over Dan Broder.
It's funny when he mentioned last week that he was real nervous when the game started, and of course he opened up with 157, and he says then he seemed to relax a little bit, then he went to a drought, so I don't know. I think I'm going to stay nervous. Looking at the 9 and the 10. Oh,
yes.
Great shot. Use the wood. Watch the wood come off the wall for the 10 pin and then into the 9. There, and actually the 10 pin took the 9 pin. 2 in a row for Stu Bergman.
And Joe Ashline is right through the middle. Joe works as a salesman for Time Electronics, does a lot of his bowling at Leda Lanes in Nashua and Pilgrim Lanes down in Haverhill, Mass. A loud 10 for Joe.
I actually feel sorry for the pins. They really take a punishment down there with Joe throwing at him. He cuts that 3 pin over into the 4.
It's tough to slow it down when Joe throws them. Oh, that was a great effort.
That close to making the 1, 3, 6, 7, and 8. 7 still stands.
Joe's still looking for his first mark.
See the 4-7 pin stand down there. Oh no, I'm the only one that's left, and here it comes. Right back on the head pin. A strange break off that ball. Cluster of 5 in the corner. 3, 5, 6, 9, 10. 5 on the spare.
.58 half with 2 marks for Stu Bergman. Next week, of course, we'll have a list of 5 brand new bowlers for you as we begin a brand new series here on Stars and Strikes. But prior to that, of course, I want to take a moment to wish everyone a very happy, safe, and healthy Thanksgiving holiday. To you and yours.
Stu brought his rooting section with him. I don't think he has to worry about walking back out to his car either.
Joe Ashline, big strike in the 5th, his first mark, and boy, did he touch them all there. Watch this one.
There's the patented strike off the ball of Joe Ashline. When he gets them, they're quick. This time a little light, and the baby split of the 2 and the 7.
And of course, we hope that you will cap off your Thanksgiving weekend by joining us next Sunday at 12 noon for 2 full hours of bowling here on Stars and Strikes.
And please do not send any more invitations in for Thanksgiving dinner. Feel like we've eaten turkey. Feels like I ate it today.
On a spare, Stu Bergman.
Drops 7, 1, 3, and 6 left. Waits the wood to settle down. Now he takes aim at the 3 pins. Right on it.
Yes. 4 marks for Stu Bergman. All spares. Right through the middle, and that 7 pin almost stood up again.
Hang on, we're not done yet. Well,
that's on a spare, so every one of those counts twice. Not able to convert it, though. And an 8 box.
it's 99 through 8. 10 pin advantage through boxes completed, which would be through the 6th frame. Joe Ashline opposite a spare 6 by Stu Bergman.
I think Joe thought he might have gone through the middle on that one.
Looked like it broke a little bit last minute over into the 1-2 pocket. He wants that wood to come up and freeze against the 3 pin. Regardless of, I think if he hits the 3 pin other than flush, he's got a shot at making it.
Yep. Nice spare for Joe Ashline, his first.
Watch the ball carry him off the 3 pin into the wood and finally into the 7 pin.
Joe uses all of the approach when he's standing up there getting ready to throw, and there is another one of those big bomb strikes.
In this case, he used all of the pins. Strike on spare. So quickly the lead goes from 16 down to 4, and Joe threatens to take over the lead when he gets back up.
Is there a minimum amount of distance that's usually used from the foul line back to the end of the approach?
No, he makes
spare.
that spare. You know, I'd really have to check on that, Doug. Let's take a look at this replay first. Will the 4 pin go? I'll bet you it does. 8 feet sticks in my mind, Doug, but I'm not sure if there is a legal minimum, because I've known of places that have probably 8 feet of wood, and some of you are starting on tile floor and back onto the approaches. So there's a regulation of the lane itself is 60 feet approximately from the foul line to the head pin, but the approach area, not sure.
.127 for Stu Bergman for his opening game. Make it 128. Gotta watch out I don't fall into another adding slump.
I know. People remind me about that all the time. But we've been good lately, real good. Well, I have been.
6 days out of the week, we're great.
Yeah, that's right. It's only the tape day we have trouble. 8 on the strike. It's funny, that's why someone said, did they get you that electronic scoreboard because you don't add very well? You still have to push the numbers.
Joe goes through the middle again. Needs a mark to take the lead in the match.
And it's not going to be easy. 2, 4, 7 on the left, and the triangle of the 6, 9, 10 on the right, and a piece of wood right out in front of the 2 pin.
Yeah, not much happening there.
You're right, though. When he moves pins out of there, they're loud. He moves them out with authority.
Takes all of those out for a 10 and a 122. So Stu Bergman, after game 1 of our series championship, leading Joe Ashline by 6. We'll be back in a moment. And right now, Joe Ashline starting our second game.
Joe clears out 7, but leaves him a tough spare. 1, 4, and 7.
Mentioned that Joe uses all of the approach while moving up to the foul line. His back heel usually is more often than not over the back end of the approach.
Right through the middle, the 1 to 5 and the 9 pins out of there. Spread eagle plus the 8 left. I'll try to go after the 3, 6, and 10. Oh, just missed that 3.
Nice 9. Stu Bergman leading by 6, as you see in the match.
Outmarking Joe Ashline, 5 marks to 3. All Stu's being spares, and 2 out of the 3 for Joe were strikes.
Another one. Spare number 6 for Stu Bergman. And a 6 fill.
Stu gave the little extra body English. He thought he was going to have a little more in that fill. I kind of agreed. Instead, he's got the 3, 6, 10 and the 7 pin, and it was too far right.
Adds 6 more to his lead, so it's 12 in all. Oh, another big strike for Joe Ashline. He's only got 1 spare, but he has had 3 huge strikes.
We got to slow this one way down because it's gone, folks. You blinked, you missed it. Same ball. Same ball.
Yes, for the double. We've talked about this before, Dan, about a guy who comes on and seems to have a lot of strikes going, but not many spares. Usually that comes back to haunt him. We'll have to see if that's the case for Joe here. He has only 1 spare, but he now has the double strike. Of course, if you have enough double strikes, it doesn't matter, I suppose.
That's right. You throw a double strike, that means the other person probably have to throw 3 good marks to equal the same as the double strike. Of course, depending on what the next ball is for Joe. Yes, nice spare.
Finesse spare that time for Stu Bergman on the 4 horsemen.
Tough spare leave, the 4 horsemen a lot of times. 3 pin comes off the wall. Only the 6 and the 10 pin go. And he comes right back with a 9 pin drop. Now the last piece of wood rolled against, well, it's turned a little bit now, but it rolled against that 9 pin first, so let's see what he decides to do. He's going to go right straight at it.
He's got it. 2 spares in a row for Stu Bergman. We'll take a timeout. When we return, Joe Ashline will be working on 2 strikes in a row. Don't go away. Joe Ashline testing the slide on the approach as he is set to go. Has 2 strikes in a row working.
Well, like I said, that ball's important. For a minute, I thought he was going to almost hit the half Worcester, but hit the quarter pins and ended up with 7.
Almost picked that off for the spare. $75.5 for Joe Ashline.
Not too shabby. With only benefit of 2 marks.
has a high single of 203. I bet he had a few strikes in that game.
Four horsemen and the 8-pin left.
Joe's going to wait for that wood, the 1 and the 10 waiting. And a 10 bucks. Stu Bergman now to come up, working on the second of 2 spares in a row, as you see. Trying to hang on to his lead here. He led by 6 coming into this game.
Well, anything over 5, he will maintain that lead. That's
Nope.
Only going to be 4.
And a 6 box.
Disappointing 6, so that's just like 2 10 boxes, spare 4 and 6, so the lead remains at 5 pins overall for Joe Ashline. Leads by 11 in this game.
Oh my, the head pin was hit and just slid over to the right. Did not go down. Probably better off with it up though. And another 6 bucks.
So now the lead is pushed to 9. Opening games, Stu Bergman 128, Joe Ashline 122. But right now, Stu is only 70 through 6, where Joe Ashline's 85. And almost another strike.
Didn't get the 8 pin. Gets it there for the spare. That's only his 2nd spare this late in the second game.
It's amazing. 17 boxes, 2 spares.
Of course, they may start to come in bunches at any time, I suppose. The wood may determine this one.
We always say that. It's interesting to, if we knew, say, tell Joe that he'll, after 17 boxes, have 2 spares, but be ahead in the match. And Joe's going to take a look. Not quite sure what he's looking at. He just can't get around that front piece. So
Takes it out. Back-to-back spares for Joe. And now Stu Bergman trying to forget what happened the last time he came up. And he rolled those 2 6 boxes. Well, he was off target again, but actually got a bit of a break as he's got some wood left on the table.
that's going to help with the 4 horsemen and the 9. Piece of wood in between the 3 and the 6.
And takes it out.
Actually is outmarking Joe in this. Well, no, that's 4 apiece now. But of course, Joe had the double strike and a 9 fill on one of his spares, and he's yet to fill the other. Well, good break off the head pin again. This time 1-4-7, and looked to be some help in between.
That's what he's looking at.
He's got to catch the head pin.
Wow.
I thought he would come closer, if not making that shot. They did not touch the 4 and the 7.
10 bucks for Stu. Joe Ashline will get a chance to add to the lead, which right now is at 11, plus whatever he gets on this fill. 6.
Now we'll give him 120 through 8.
No luck on the 7-pin. Keep in mind, these bowlers are competing against each other, but also against the scoreboard. So they're trying to not only win the match, but win it with a high score so that they can get a favorable seeding in the Tournament of Champions, and Joe Ashline will be left with the head pin.
Yes, and in fact, Joe was the top seed last year in the Tournament of Champions with what, 460?
I believe it was a 448.
448. It was right up there, I know that. Well, he skipped that one, dropped the ball, and missed the head pin for the spare.
Nope, I cut him a little short. It was a 456.
Well, he'll finish his work on the second game with a 140 and a 262 for 2-game total. So 2 open frames for Stu Bergman to try to get some of that 17-point deficit back. Not going to be easy. 3-6 on the right, 4-7.
Oh, that's unusual. If he had to make that shot.
6-7.
One more box for Stu here in the middle game.
Well, he could, with the mark, he could almost cut that lead in half. Actually, he could cut it in half.
Yeah, he'll shoot at the 4 horsemen here, left side. He made it on the right side earlier.
Looks good.
It is good. Nicely done. That's a tough shot to make, especially when you feel like you need a mark.
Buries it. Just pushes the 2 into the 4. The ball actually carries right down the 2, 4, and 7. So 18 pins minus this ball will be Joe Ashline's lead.
Takes 7 away, so it's a 123 middle game for Stu Bergman. His 2-string total 251, and that leaves Joe Ashline with an 11-pin lead with 1 game to go to settle it here on Stars and Strikes. We'll do it after these words. One game to go here on Stars and Strikes to decide this series championship, and Stu Bergman will get us started in game 3. He's trailing by those 11 pins, 262 to 251.
Start with the 5-8. Piece of wood nestled against the 5. Ooh, he's too far left, or too far right, I should say. Not far enough left. Actually, that 8-pin jumped up in the air for a second. But instead of a spare, it's just a 10. Trailing by 11.
Stu's been having a little trouble finding the head pin. Nice try there. And another 10 bucks. Now Joe Ashline. Remember that one?
Certainly do. That's actually the day I think he qualified for the Tournament of Champions. No, he had a big total that day anyway.
Yeah, he had a 446 in that match back on October 14th last year. He had 10 marks in a row, all spares, and he had 8 9-drops in that game. That's incredible. 8 9-drops out of 10 boxes.
6 of them in a row.
Right. and ended up with a 446. That was actually the first week of the 3-week run that resulted in his qualifying for the Tournament of Champions last year. He had a 456 in the match that he won the series and qualified for the tournament. By the way, that 10 spares in a row accounted for a game of 185.
Let's play a little trivia here. When he threw the 456, who did he defeat?
Ooh. I don't recall, and I just looked at it. I just looked at the sheet, and I don't remember.
One of our recent bowlers on the doubles.
Pat Pay?
No.
No.
Bueller the buzzer will sound momentarily. John Maffio.
Ah. Okay. John Maffio's had a number of big scores rolled against him.
No, that's
a
what I
fact
thought
that he was quick to point out when he was here.
That's right. I thought that you would get it just for that reason. Since Gary Duffett now has moved to Pennsylvania, because he was usually the one that had the big scores thrown against him. 3, 5, 6, 9, 10 left for Stu. Looking for his first mark of the third game and trying to cut into that lead, which he has by 1 pin. The lead now is down to 10 for Joe Ashline.
Well, actually, still, the difference in this match is the double strike by Joe Ashline. Joe has 7 marks. Stu has 10. But the double strike by Joe, a big part of the story.
Whoop, watch out. This has happened once to Joe Ashline, now to Stu Bergman. Missing the head pin, leaving just the head pin standing. And he's right on it. Spare in the 4th.
That's his 11th spare.
Without a strike?
Yep. Joe Ashline's lead in the match is 10. He's opposite a 9 and a spare.
6, 9, 10. Where the 6-pin looks like it hit. Well, you can't tell from that angle. It looks like it's off the spot a little bit.
Got it.
Makes no difference. Spare up in the 3rd. Pushes the lead back to 11.
It's really amazing. Dan, Stu has, as we said, 11 spares. That's 4 for Joe. And he leads in the match. That's what those strikes will do for you.
Triangle. 2, 4, 5, 8.
Got it.
2 in a row.
We will take a break. We're coming down to the wire here in the Stars and Strikes Series Championship. One of these two is going to move to the Tournament of Champions. We'll see who in a minute. Stu Bergman on a spare, trailing in the match by 17.
And he's yet to throw a strike. Boy, that'll be an opportune time for him to put one up there. Instead, 6, 7, 10. Doesn't sound very bad when you say it that way, 6, 7, 10. If you think about it, that's 6, 10 in the right-hand corner, and the left-hand corner sits the 7-pin.
See if that wood'll snap over. Nope, got hung up.
.56 through 5.
Big ball there. There's the first strike for Stu Bergman.
Couldn't come at a better time for him either than the 6th frame. Struggling to stay with Joe and cut into that lead. Just tripping the 9-pin. Joe Ashline working on a spare.
Five. Wow. Looked like he had it.
Well, can't help but think the speed of the ball may have something to do with missing that one. I don't know if we have that on a replay or not, but that would be interesting to see what happened to the ball at least. Ball seemed like it was dead in the 1-2 pocket, just driving through, but left the 7-pin. Seemed to let up on that ball. Ball broke at the end, right through the middle. Well, all of a sudden, working on a strike. 2 open frames for Joe Ashline. Could be a new match here. Relatively close anyways, a 9. So the lead is 14. Let's take a look at that last shot by Joe Ashline. Well, not the last one, but the ball did
right around
the 7-pin.
This is on a strike for Stu Bergman.
This would be a monster of a spare. Oh.
Well, he's cut the lead to 7. Takes a 10 box in the 7th.
Well, I keep mentioning it. The all-important 8th gives you something to work on, but it gives your opponent something to think about. He wants that to turn a little more. Well, he's going to have to be just left of the red line. Well, actually, he turned a little more for him. Just drive it straight back. I think he could cover this for a spare. Uh-oh. That might have been too far left.
He was worried about it when he let it go, but it carried.
I wanted to twist around and leave the 9-pin in the back, but big mark for Stu in the 8th. Trailing by 7.
Joe will shoot at the 1-3-7. With a little bit of wood, he bounced it.
Well, this is crunch time now. Without picking both of these up, he's going to lose another 1 or 2 in count. And it will be 1, so that'll reduce the lead to 6. And we have a match. Final 2 frames. 6-pin advantage for Joe Ashline, opposite a spare. Not going to be an easy one to match. He's got the 3-6 on the right, the 4-pin piece of wood in between. No, it's inside. And again, he could lose another 1 or 2 on count. So all of a sudden, it's seat squirming time. He loses 2 more in count. So the lead is 4.
Four less whatever Stu puts on this spare, and he has a big fill, a 9 drop. He takes the lead by 5.
This mark will force Joe, probably, depending on the fill, into a double mark situation. He is right on it. Nerves of steel here. Only the 2nd week with us on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Last week defeating Dan Broder with a 391, and this week right down to crunch time, and light hit, but
8.
And a makeable spare. I think if he throws the ball right down the center of the lane where the 2 pieces of wood meet, one should take 10 and one should take the 7, and it's easy for me to say. I don't have to throw the ball. Let's see what he does. That's what he's trying.
Nope. He had a long look at it. Wasn't able to make it happen. Well, part of the benefit or the advantage of being the #1 seed is you get to go last. So Joe Ashline knows exactly what he has to do when he steps up.
No, he's going to need 2 marks. That's for sure. And it's a 9.
129 for Stu Bergman and a 3-string total of 380.
So 118, my math is right, ties. 119 wins.
Right, so he needs, as you said, Dan, 2 marks.
33 pins. And he can't afford to miss this, and otherwise it's the double strike situation. 1, 2, 4, 6, 10. Piece of wood moving in the back. Caught his eye. He stops. Wipes his brow. And here we go.
Got a shot. Oh, no, it was too full. It looked like he might have a shot at it. But now it is a double strike situation.
He'll have to throw 2 strikes.
Well, we know he can throw them. He's had 4 of them already.
And he's had a double.
That's right.
You could hear a pin drop in here right now. No pun intended. All
right,
that's
got
the
one.
first one.
Wow. And typically of Joe, it was a fast one.
Needs another one. And then he would need 3 on it. Needs a strike.
No, that's
Through the
it.
middle.
It will be Stu Bergman moving into the Tournament of Champions. Wow, what a finish. Joe Ashline needing the double, got the first one.
And he came right back on the head pin.
Wow. Great finish. 377 for Joe Ashline. A win by 3 for Stu Bergman. $1,000, and he'll be in the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions in the spring. We'll be back to talk to both bowlers and have our bonus ball contest in a minute. And welcome back to Park Place Lanes, Candlepin, Stars and Strikes, and terrific match. Can't ask for more right down to the last box.
Absolutely. And Stu, hey, he made a name for himself today. He knocked off Dan Broder last week and the likes of Joe Ashline this week, and it wasn't easy. He needed a couple marks the last 2 boxes, and he got them.
All right, it's time for us to give some money away, so let's have a round of applause for Joe Ashline. Yes, and family. I mentioned your wife Robin was here, and here's the new addition to the family, Cody and Derek over here.
Yep, how you doing?
I'm just fine. Geez, it was another. You got a handful, 2 handfuls
These
here.
guys are heavy. This one here is looking at the lights.
Yeah,
He's
he's fascinated by this whole thing.
well, he's gonna hopefully he'll get on a little bit more. Hopefully it won't be 6 months old when we get on, but he's 3 months now. This guy here loves him. Yeah, hang on one second.
Just 2. You don't want to ruin your bowling arm there, you know, by straining it.
I think I already did ruin it the way I bowled today. I couldn't
Well-
get the ball over the foul line half the time.
Well, again, congratulations on getting here. Of course, you don't get here as often as you do without being able to rack up some good scores. We have a $500 check for you for second place, and hopefully we'll be seeing you again real soon. Of course, you're still eligible for the rest of the season, so we hope we'll see you back again.
Yeah, well, that's the only good thing about this, you know. I had a piece of change, but at least I can come back. So.
Well, congratulations, Joe. We'll see him. Good luck with the kids, and they'll step off, and I have a feeling we may see Derek up on the foul line in a little bit. But right now we're going to see Stu Bergman up on the foul line, as he's going to throw the bonus ball. I think Derek wanted to throw the bonus ball, but we're going to have Stu throw it and see if we can't get a winner here. We have $50 in the jackpot, so we'll see if Stu can get us a winner here. On the head pin, and it'll be an 8. What do you think?
I think it's good.
I think it's good, too. It's a winner for $50 for Mrs. Ann Giorgio of Methuen, Mass. So, Mrs. Giorgio, congratulations. We'll be sending you a check for $50 and a brand new set of bowling balls from Paramount Industries, and also Stu Bergman gets a new set of bowling balls as well, and you can probably put them right to work and use this money and maybe buy some more of your own. $1,000. Congratulations. That was a terrific match.
Thank you. Surprised, but I'm relieved now. I'm kind of tired. So.
A little helpless feeling there watching Joe step up for those last 2, huh?
Yeah, definitely. He's got that powerful ball, so I didn't know what was going to happen.
Well, we talked right before he began. You know he can throw the strikes. It's just a question if he's going to come up with them in that particular situation.
Yep. Like I said, you bowl great. I'm just happy, the outcome, though.
Well, the good news for you is you can sit back now and relax, and we will see you in the spring for the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. Of course, that 3-string total of 380 will determine where you're seated in that group, and we'll be looking forward to having you back in the spring for the Tournament of Champions.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Stu.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Stu Bergman making his first appearance here on Stars and Strikes last week, and beating 2 pretty fine bowlers to get his first championship here.
It's nice to see new faces, too. And it'll be a credit to our show, and I'm sure he's looking forward to the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament Champions. He's got some bodyguards or something with him, though. I'm going to walk out to my car with
He
him.
may need more now that he's going to be back later.
The big bucks, they don't have to worry about taking it away from him.
All right, next week, of course, we'll be back with a brand new series, 5 new bowlers lining up to, again, try and get someone into the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. Don't forget, in just a few minutes after a break, we'll have Stars and Strikes doubles. And until the next time, from Park Place Lanes, for Dan Murphy and the whole TV50 crew, Doug Brown, so long, everybody.